Hey, welcome to Ben's Boats. My name is Ben. We're back working on the Cobalt. Got a little bit of work done off camera. I'll fill you in. When I say I got some work done on camera, I mean that I did a little bit and somebody else did. It's pretty cool. Check this out. I got the transom wrapped. Oh boy, look at this. Shout out to NXS Graphics here in Georgia. Did a smashing job back here. This is really something. I got edge tape. I got edge tape all around. I mean, on camera, it kind of looks a little different. I think they did a great job color matching a boat from 1982. I'm not gonna complain. Obviously I took the whole tag off and everything had to come off before it went down to the wrap shop, but in my opinion, they did a phenomenal job. I could not be happier. Let me show the inside. So in here, you can kind of see what I've been working on. I cut some reliefs for the exhaust pass through. No, I'm not doing through hole yet. Through hole exhaust is a plan, but not yet. I just want to get on the water and leg test. I've been working on the bilge floors and the stringers. I cut out all that foam. It was kind of waterlogged. I left a little bit just for continuity's sake. Outside of that, I ground down this fiberglass here and over there in an effort to make a nice smooth mounting plate for my stringers. Let me show you what I got. Okay, these are the boards I plan on using for my stringers. Cut them out earlier today. I sprayed you all that. It was kind of boring. Got some angles, nice bevel cuts so it'll interface well with my wood existing in the boat already. I got one for port side, one for starboard side. We're gonna lay those in with some glass today. Hopefully by the end of today we'll have a pretty solid stringer system that I can build some motor mounts to. Speaking of motor mounts, I actually was gifted a set of aluminum motor mounts from a friend. I'll show you what I got. Alright, we're here in the garage where I filmed that engine video that you saw. There she still sits. I have these aluminum L brackets with gussets all filled in. I got a friend who gave these to me along with these solid motor mounts here instead of the rubber bushing ones that came with the Volvo. So I got one on each side. They look a little crooked right now because, well, they are. I don't have everything tightened down, so it's gonna sag a little bit. So when I get it in the boat, this is gonna be sandwiched against the outside of the stringer. There's a plate that goes on the inside through bolts. It's gonna be a really solid system. I've measured everything. We should have, by my metrics, plenty of space, but we'll get there when we get there. I think we'll be okay. Yeah, we'll be okay. Also, since the last video, I did some work on the transom assembly. So if you remember, I made this transom way too thick. Well, I mean, I guess not that too thick, but still too thick for the existing hardware. So what I did, this is the transom assembly that's going on the boat. It used to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 studs like you saw. It now has 0. I have new hardware coming that's going to replace this. I'm going to use that because it's longer. None of these bolts actually stuck through and were able to interface between the bracket and the nut. So we were kind of screwed. I had to get new hardware. You saw the tape. I masked off a lot of areas because it was a pain, and I mean a pain. I had to weld to the studs and use this nail. Well, I welded this nail on, hit it with a piece of pipe, and had to spin them off by hand. Used a torch to heat it up. It was a huge endeavor, big mess. Still have the welder out. Got to pack that up. That was a pain, but I'm glad it's done. We can move on. Speaking of moving on, we got some work to do. Glass to cut, wood to lay. Let's get to it. Before we get started, let me address the elephant in the room. Yes, I wrapped the transom of the boat. A lot of people are going to be mad. Ooh, why didn't you gel coat it? Why didn't you this? Why didn't you that? I care about this boat. I would have loved to gel coat it, but quite frankly, the cost, the time, and the effort to get it where it would be ready for gel is just way beyond me right now. So a lot of purists out there are going to hate the fact that I wrapped this thing. You're probably right. I mean, yeah, you're probably right. However, I wanted the easiest way out of it. I worked with those guys up there, did a banging job. Whatever the case is, it's wrapped now. I'm not going back. And if I ever want to redo it in the future, I can. It's just a sticker. It didn't damage anything underneath. I can still gel coat this boat if need be. So hold your pants. It's okay. It's just a little different than what some might have expected. Enough talk. Let's lay some glass. Alright, so I have all this fiberglass cut out, but I'm not going to use it. I'm going to change of plans. We're going to use this kitty hair that I just cut up. We're going to stick it to the bilge using that. And then I'm going to come back once it's cured and stick the rest of this stuff to make it more structural. This to be about the consistency of peanut butter and fully wetted out, even though it's filler technically. Alright, sure. It's go time. It's very, very hot already. I do not. You know, I meant to move the fan up here before I got in the boat. You see how well that went down. Alright, we got these stringers laid. Turned out pretty alright. I used some big old batteries as my weights to keep these things down as that fiberglass cures. So we will check on this later. Now I know what you're thinking. Ben, you should have used 5200 to secure those stringers to the bilge. You wouldn't be completely wrong by suggesting that, or even thinking that I would. I don't have any. I'll be honest, I've made like 3 trips to different stores today and didn't. Nobody had it. Went to 2 marinas, Academy, 2 Aces, and Home Depot twice. Oh well, fiberglass should do the trick just fine. I can't lay any more fiberglass until that stuff cures, so we gotta wait for that, and then we'll come back. Okay, out here, day 2. This stuff has had a chance to cure overnight. It's been almost 24 hours. This stuff is solid. Like, that moves the entire boat. I was not expecting such good adhesion, but this looks awesome. What I gotta do now is take some filler material, go in here, make a nice fillet so I can lay some more glass down on top of it. Gotta do it on the insides here, gotta do it on the corners where it meets the transom to first of all strengthen it, second of all create a bigger radius for me to lay fiberglass around. Okay, we're back out here working. It's been about a week and a half since I last turned on the camera. I've done a lot of work in the meantime. Let me show you where I'm at. So, it looks a little different back here. Clamber on up in here. We have the stringers, both the starboard and the port side, all laid out. I've got them at their final thickness. The motor mounts are gonna go here. I gotta add another layer of 3/4 inch ply plus some glass So we're going to bolt the motor mounts to. Look over here on the starboard side, I have the whole floor laid out of the flotation box. This has been secured down with 5200, gone through 3 tubes of that stuff. Yes, I know it's pricey, but boy does it work. This stuff's never coming off. As sticky as could be. Part of the reason I didn't have the camera on, it's been a lot of the same. More than anything, it's been cutting, measuring, the other way around. Measuring, cutting, gluing, screwing, get your head out of the gutter. All in all, a lot of work that's more or less repetitive. Ugh, still wet. It might be repetitive, but I've got a lot more to do, so I'm bringing you with me. Got one side complete, time to do the other. Made this template the other day out of an old Amazon box. Added bonus, this corner makes a perfect edge with the existing corner, so it keeps it nice and tight and square as I'm taking my measurements. I'd say that's close enough. Let's cut some plywood. Okay, first test fit went well. I don't know if you can tell, but I got a line drawn all the way down here. This is the contour of the inside. I need to shape that, bevel it, and we should be pretty close. Well, we got an angle grind, but close enough. So for those who have never worked on fiberglass before, the reason I just took all that time to bevel these edges with an angle grinder was if you try to lay fiberglass on a sharp corner like this and like roll it over, you're gonna end up with air pockets up here and here. So you gotta roll this side over so the fiberglass contours to the wood. You don't end up with air voids. Those are your worst nightmare. We're gonna sand this down, knock off all these sharp edges here and there, do a test fit, and should be pretty close. Yeah, no slip backing my butt. Let's test fit and see how it looks. That is mighty darn good if you ask me. Good enough for the girls we date. I don't plan on laying that down tonight. That is in this piece of wood we just cut. I need to coat the underside in epoxy first to waterproof it, let that cure overnight, and then I can lay it down in the boat. I'm not about to lay raw wood in that humid environment. So, even though you see me do it 100 times, we're gonna mix up some more epoxy and put it on. Out here the next morning, this cured up really nice, looking good. Everything in here is prepped and ready to lay the other top of that flotation box. Let's get to it. I got that box floor all laid out. It's queuing right now. Take a look. Not too bad if I do say so myself. Got to give it a little while longer yet, and we can put some glass over it. While I'm waiting on that to cure, I've been working on the bulkhead that goes in between these two, the forward bulkhead. This is really going to strengthen out this entire stringer box. Once it's done, this won't be able to flex in or out. I got this template cut out, fits great. Now I got to make it out of wood. Alright, I know I've been jumping around a lot, but we're making a lot of progress. Have this entire starboard side of the boat all laid down. We're all good to go here as far as the flotation box and motor mounts go. I need a few more layers of glass on top of this mount itself so it's a little more structural. We're going to worry about that later. Today, we're doing what we did there over here on the port side of things. Before I do any of that though, I want to lay the bulkhead that goes between here and there. This is going to strengthen the entire stringer assembly and make it so it can't flex inwards on each other. They can't flex outwards right now because of the flotation boxes. Once I add this bulkhead and tie these two together, this front side won't be able to flex in. It's tied together in the back by the transom itself. Enough talking, let's get to work. Okay, so I was prepping this area to lay the bulkhead, and I noticed these are my control cables. I have new ones, but if you look, I don't know if you can see, but that cable right here was way up there, is pinched by the fuel tank. I don't want to mess with this once I get this bulkhead in place. There's going to be access underneath it, but not great. So I'm going to go ahead and pull my new cables now. I really don't want to. I wanted to leave these till kind of last, but I got to do it now. I wanted to wait because I'm going to coat this in Bilge coat. Didn't want to get that all over my cables. The time has come. I got to do this now or I'm not going to really have much access. So here we go. Now I've already rebuilt this control box once, so I'm not doing that this time around. I am simply just replacing the control cables. Here we go. Oh gosh, that's gotten even worse since last time. See how that's completely wore through right there? These cables work by moving forward and backward in the sleeve. That's the throttle I'm moving right there. Let's see if I can't get the shift to move. Watch that cable. Yeah, it's flexing. Yeah, that thing's completely worn through. All right, this is very much time to replace. Make sure you lose your cotter pin when you do this, because you know that will happen. Ah. Thing's about to snap in half. God almighty, that's bad. Oof. Just drop it next time, Ben. Go for it. Just have these little plastic bushings in here to keep the metal from wearing on metal. It's okay, we don't need that where we're going. New cable. Gotta be careful when you open these because they have a tendency to come apart. Cool, let's put it in the boat. Now OMC put these enlargers on these control cables to work with their 800 drives. I don't want that to pull through because that's quite a big mass of plastic. So we're gonna go ahead and take that out real quick. So if you've never pulled control cables on a boat, what you do is you take the end of your new cable and you tape it real good to your other one. And then you just pull them through the boat, and hopefully it all works out in your favor. Let's try it. The tighter you tape these, the better. So you have to make all kinds of bends, twists, and shouts on their way up to the helm. This one that I'm working on in particular is the throttle cable. You can tell which one it is by the way that it is. It's the easiest way to do it without disassembling the entire boat. I really don't want to get to that point today. Here goes nothing. Aha! Look at that. That's easy enough, right? We got that all buttoned up. Finally time to start with the bulkhead. Let's do it. Nice, nice, nice. All right, that's in there curing. I need to pull it tight. I can't use screws just because of the area. We're gonna try a new fastening method. I know it looks like a mess, and yes, it does, but this is working great. I couldn't get a screw in here. I tried on both sides. It kind of messed up the plywood, as you can see right there. Not great. So, ratchet straps. When in doubt, ratchet strap. That ain't going anywhere. For those wondering how it's secured back here at the stern, I put it through the holes I drilled for the outdrive. We'll follow up, see if that worked. Alright, so this 5200 is curing up great. We're going to go ahead and lay some fiberglass on this side. So I'm doing it a little differently this time. Somebody mentioned that I should not wet this out on the table and then bring it up here. I should wet it out in situ. So that's exactly what I'm doing today. I think it's going to save a lot of resin. I did it over there where the camera's sitting the first time around, and it seemed to save a good amount, I'd say. I mean, I don't know, I can't confirm. I don't have a table to look at, obviously, when it's all laid up. However, I don't think I used quite as much yesterday, so we're trying it again today. 90 bucks for a gallon of this stuff. Anything you can do to save a couple nickels helps indeed. Okay, and the rolling begins. I'd say that went pretty well. All laid up, got several layers, woven roving, chopped strand, all kinds of good stuff. Gotta let that cure and move on. Well, that's all the time we got for today. Sorry the video is a little longer. I had a lot of work to get done. Anyway, like, comment, subscribe. Thanks for watching. Let me know how I did down in the comments, and I'll catch you in the next one.